I'll get to you in just a second. I have to go to the bathroom, so we'll be back in just a little bit.
If you could just change my name, so Jeffrey Douglas has a paid account and lets the caucus use it. So if you could just change my name from that to Michael Heiss.
Can I do that?
Yeah. So if you go to
here, I'll let Donna do it. I gotta go to the bathroom. Here, go ahead.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, Michael.
Hey.
How do I do this?
So if you go to the toolbar at the bottom, where there should be something that says like invitees or people in the something that's to denote people on the stream.
Okay. Let's see. It's
participants.
Participants, yeah.
Oh, I can do it myself. Never mind.
Yeah.
I thought the host had to do it. Boom.
Okay. Got it there?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Yeah, we just back to back shows today. So
yeah,
we just talked to Scott Horton. You guys must know each other because he knows who you are. So.
Yeah, I was talking to him earlier. I owe him a phone call actually on probably after this and on the way to the meeting.
Cool.
I owe him a call because I'm helping with Hornberger for now.
Okay. Cool. All right, I'm sure you guys will have a lot to talk about. All right, Ernie's back, and we'll start in just a minute. Hold on.
Awesome. So how's it going, Ernie? How are you?
I'm more than wonderful. Okay.
Do you remember meeting me at the Nexus conference?
You look familiar. Remind me, what did we talk about?
The Mises Caucus was brand new at that point, so I was trying to pitch you on that. I think I was even trying to get you to run for an LNC.
Oh, spot, yeah, okay, yeah,
which I would still
I
like to see happen.
No, I remember. I remember. Remember, I was member club. I was something member. All right. Now, which is really, God, you're gonna make me do this. All right. All right, let me pull up some pictores. There you are. Okay, hold on a second. And let me do it this way. Now I'll start the recording a little bit. We're on live stream, so guys said, hey guys, get over it. We're getting ready. Because we got to do the recording stuff too. Okay. All right, now we'll run with some of these pictures, for a little bit so they can kind of see that, and then I'll, reduce that, and then we'll just have the two of us up. But I'll go ahead and start with this because I can, and we'll do that. Let me see what pictures Donna's got. Jordan Peterson.
I'm a big fan.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to make sure the positioning was good. Okay. And when do you got to go?
What time is it?
5.
I would like to go at like 7:15.
All right. We'll skip to the end and do this. What I'm going to do is I'll just say, yo, what's up? And we met and I remember you were doing back in the day, and here you are. And how do you say it? Heiss? How do you say your last name?
You got it right the first time.
Heiss. Okay, Michael Heiss. All right, what we're going to go ahead and do, I'll open the show. We had just done Scott Horton, and I had Jeff Theist on this morning, so we were definitely, Hornbergering up a little bit. And, Scott and I, we don't disagree on anything, really. He just wants some more, out of Jacob, and I just like him the way he is. But it's, and so does Scott, I'm sure, but he definitely's got some issues he wants to get out, so he's, kind of advising and sending and letting them know that whatever he wants. And my thing is, my experience with, a really good libertarian candidate here in Arizona, ran for governor, and with Ron Paul's campaign. His name was John Buttrick. You may or may not know who he is, but he was platform chairman of the Libertarian Party and the LNC back in the 90s, and he's a retired federal judge that now is ready to do some whip ass. So he's a big Jacob Hornberger supporter, and he'll be helping him. Then, when the Ron Paul thing happened, I another great candidate, and then with Jacob, it's the same thing. So it's a span of 25 years for me that I've only really put my head down and plowed for. This will be the third candidate. Now I do, a lot of stuff in activism or whatever, but it's rare that I do this, that I come out and kind of, all right, let's go whip ass. We're going to have us some fun.
There's a lot of that going on, and it's exciting.
Well, that's what I want to hear about. This is what we're talking about. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start the show here directly. And here we go. So hold on just a second.
I'll mute myself for a second.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Undefeated. You're on Declare Your Independence. I'm Ernest Hancock here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedomsnet, FreedomsPhoenix.com. Ooh, that was a good one. I'm going to keep that one. All right. Here we have Michael Heiss that is has come on the show, explain it to us. Now, it's first, God, man, let's make sure I got his name right. Hi, Michael, say your last name so we all got it emblazoned in our memory.
Heiss.
Got it right. Yay, I win. All right. So Michael Heiss, I had met before a couple years ago at least, at a Nexus Earth conference in Aspen, Colorado. At the time, they were recruiting and looking for people to run for the LNC, to be, on the team Mises of whatever they're going to something. And I was like, interesting. I'm glad you guys are doing it. You let me know if you need some help. Let me know and whatever. And I kind of, it's Libertarian Party crap, So I always go, and I've run for national chair a gazillion times, but they already had somebody in mind for that, and they're going to do whatever they were going to do. So I'm like, peace out. But I was there, had, something to say this about that. And my only comment was I ran for member at large just so I could say, I'm not really worried about the executive committee or LNC anymore, because from 15% to well over a third or more, 40% of the delegates kind of getting that, voluntarist, leave me alone, real libertarian thing going on. And I'm going, so I'm not worried about, the part or the body, the people, as much as, as long as the activists are represented in some way, as long as they're autonomous state by state and they can do whatever the heck they want. Because that's the spontaneous order that we've seen with the Levolution and many other things that I experienced here in Arizona. That's where the power is the individuals. But an individualistic party like the Libertarian Party, they don't act that way. And it, like any political machine, it attracts, the ones that need a shiny badge to fill the void in their chest or something. There's something going on. And as time has gone on, I'm starting to realize there's a lot of sociopaths in politics. I mean, they just freaking will take advantage of these young, creative, enthusiastic minds and say whatever they think they need to tell them to get support for them to do whatever the heck it was. But as time goes on and you have reputation it precedes you, when you have the internet and then blockchain and then you have, non-state issued IDs and reputation of I already know and I've seen all your tweets from forever. So it's changed, and it's only activists that have been around for decades that before the internet that's seen why it's changed and can predict into the future what's coming. Jacob Hornberger from the Future of Freedom Foundation is one of those people. He started the Future of Freedom Foundation when I had first started hearing of the word libertarian. What the hell's that? So you got to read Atlas Shrugged, and it usually begins with Ayn Rand, and here's your Freedom Daily from the Future of Freedom Foundation, okay? So I've grown up in this movement from 8 whatever years old back in the day with Jacob Hornberger explaining it to me, and a lot of other writers that he's had on Future of Freedom Foundation. So him running for president was, for me, another Ron Paul thing. I'm going, I already know where this goes, Well, nobody's heard of him, and he hasn't been elected to federal office. Don't care, okay? So I want to get with Michael here and talk about the Mises Caucus inside the Libertarian Party. And what does it take to be the Mises Caucus inside the Libertarian Party? You go, I'm in the Libertarian Party, and I just started the Mises Caucus, so get over it. Here we go. Now, the support, by calling it the Mises Caucus, I would imagine, like what happened in New Orleans in the 16 election cycle, or 18 election cycle, it was down the street, within, a quarter mile, half mile or less, down the street, the Mises Caucus had their own little convention thing, and it was heavily attended, and it scared the crap out of the Libertarian Party. They'll say they weren't scared. I was there. They were scared. Okay, they were worried whatever the hell it was they thought you might be doing. What you did is you demonstrated that there was a lot of support for a principled, no compromise position. And what the hell are we doing with this Bill Weld crap? Are you kidding me? Okay. Well, of course he went Republican, never Trump, of whatever the heck is going on there. I don't care. Okay. So here we have the Mises Caucus was developed, and I think I know where it came from and why. I'm going to tell this story, and then it's going to be all Michael. You ready, Michael?
Let's do it.
All right, here you go. Here it is. There was Nick Sarwark, that is the national chair of the Libertarian Party, an unprecedented third term. He runs a good convention. He's got it going. He keeps it in control, making trains run on time. But he gets what he wants, and it's behind the scenes, I guarantee it. And you listen to the shows that I've done with him. He's out in the open about it. If you saw the debate between David Smith and him, you kind of get this is what we've been screaming all this time, is that principle is practical. It is the only way the libertarians are ever going to blah, 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 blah. Principle, uncompromising, here it is, and this is it, and that's, Ron Paul, Jacob Hornberger. It's going to be, a shorter, darker-haired version of Ron Paul. Here it comes. Now, the thing is that Tom Woods, Mises, with the crowd here. Now, we had Jeff Dice, the president of the Mises Institute, this morning on. I know Jeff well. He was chief of staff for Ron Paul's congressional office. There's Ron Paul, Lou Rockwell. I have Lou Rockwell's stuff all over the place. Been on the show many times. Walter Block, Tom Woods, Bob Murphy, Stephen Kinsella. I mean, these are the crowd. These are the stalwarts of the libertarian philosophy, and they'll explain it to you. Well, the Mises Institute, all these guys as individuals, they can't endorse anybody or anything, but the Mises Caucus can. So this is all the support. I just know it was gravitating towards Jacob Hornberger running. Last May, I had Jacob Hornberger on the show, and he, was going, I was at this Libertarian convention, after about 3 of them, I said, sounds to me like you're running for Presidente. Are you guys, no, it wouldn't be prudent at this juncture to talk in FEC of what I go, sounds more like you're running for Presidente. So this was not like a big giant secret to me, but he couldn't announce because he follows laws and stuff and whatever. I don't care. So this is not kind of an open secret for a while, but now it's not a secret anymore, and he's running. What happened to create the Mises Caucus? Tell me when I'm wrong here. Nick Sarwark made some critical tweet about Tom Woods that gave some economic speech and said something about Rothbard. It had nothing to do with politics or whatever. Nick Sarwark saw an opportunity to come out as national chair of the Libertarian Party and say, the only thing you learned from Rothbard was a failed political strategy of never getting elected, of blah, 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 or something, and you need practical politics like I'm going to tell you in Bill Weld of something, right? I don't know what the hell he was, what the heck, and when that happened, I don't pay attention to this crap, but it came across my desk, people go, ooh, look what Nick said, and I'm like, what the hell is that about? And this was like midweek on, some week. By that Friday, I have had, within 2 weeks, I had Nick, Tom Woods, Bob Murphy, Ron Paul, bunch of the guys on. What the hell is this about? Why is he talking? Why would he do this? It's the old fight from back in the day of the Coctopus and these guys that see liberty as a suitcase full of influence that they can, run around on campuses or young people or whatever to get their energy policies done of something, how you're going to run the government the way they want or something. They've been trying to take over the party since 1980 or before. This has been a big thing with them, and they can't get away from them damn libertarians in there that just want principle and such. So, I am of the opinion that they took this swipe at Mises, and Tom in particular, and the Misesists and Rothbard, because they hate the fact that there's guys like Michael that believe this stuff, that want to have this stuff. It's just been a thorn in their side to get control of the third largest party and 50 state ballot status. What do you think this Weld thing was all about? So I'm just going to never Trump, all this kind of crap, and vouching for Hillary's. I'm like, when are we going to learn, and Barr and all that? Ew. So when they did this, it pissed them off enough. Mises has an event at the New Orleans convention down the street. And they were afraid they were going to organize and do it. And they kind of started late, so maybe that. But now we're going into a presidential election cycle with a candidate like Jacob Hornberger. The Mises Caucus is going to say hello. How far off am I, Michael?
You're pretty on, and that's certainly how it appears from the outside. The ironic thing is that we actually weren't a response to all of that. And I can understand why it looks that way, but I had actually been kicking around the idea of the Mises Caucus for a couple months and hadn't started it.
Oh, that was a good opportunity.
Where it gets really mysterious is I finally said, screw it, I'm going to make the group. We'll see what happens. Made a group on Facebook. Hours later that same day is when that first salvo was launched from Nick. And so we just happened to kind of organically, basically accidentally absorb the fallout.
Whoa. You mean on the same day that you guys kind of announced this is when that happened?
Yeah, and it happened on Twitter.
You think it might have been because of it?
No, because it happened on Twitter, and I don't use Twitter. So I was completely unaware. Well, my point is I was completely unaware that this was happening, and I wasn't like a well-known activist in the party. I mean, they didn't know that I had been active in the Liberty movement for like a decade. It was networked. But as far as they were concerned, I came out of nowhere. And so, and it didn't even come out. I mean, we used that opportunity. That is certainly good fuel to get people into the party to change things. But the main motivation was really to try to blow on the embers of the Ron Paul revolution and get our people fired up. Because my observation over all this time, I'm 30 years old, and I got started when I was about 17, 18. I was listening to Alex Jones when I was 14, so I've been around for a little bit in the activist scene. And I want my movement back. I want the feeling of the revolution back. That's the main thing. That was like the best time of my entire life.
Yep.
And it was so much fun. There was so much connection, so much networking. Every time you met a libertarian, it's like you met a new best friend. And I want that back. And I got to thinking about the Mises Caucus after the Johnson campaign because, I held my nose and voted for Johnson. And I even worked a poll for him, and that was kind of my entryway into the party.
I don't do that hold my nose crap.
I don't
advocating
think I would
for
now.
Taxes, got to bake the cake, blah blah blah. I'm like, and Bill Weld, I'm like, we're done.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that now. That was my first entry into the party. Even with Ron Paul, I never got involved in the GOP. I mean, I registered to vote for him in the primaries, but that's it. It was really my first foray into party politics at all. And I just got to comparing the Ron Paul revolution with my experience with the Gary Johnson campaign, and it was completely night and day. So the big thesis that I came to was that Ron Paul essentially initiated a positive feedback loop with his bravery, with his courage, with his consistency, with his outspoken truth, and all of these things that gave us moral victories to where I was out in the streets bullhorning. I'd never done anything like that. People were dropping out of work. People were dropping out of school, just dropping everything to get behind this guy and get behind this message. And that was not at all what the Gary Johnson experience was like. So my theory is that
no, that was controlled opposition. That was to make sure that it didn't take off.
Right. And my theory is that with Ron, it's easy to kill a campaign, an individual in one campaign. A campaign ends. But if we were somehow ever to reignite that positive feedback loop under the guise of an organization, you can't kill an organization the way you can kill a campaign. So if we ever initiated that feedback loop again, technically the revolution never has to die. And that's what I want.
Okay, this is my admonishment and warning and whatever, and Ernie said, and mark your calendar kind of thing. Here we call it Steiger's Law. It's a long story wide, doesn't matter. But the way the saying goes is whenever you create an organization or a group around a movement or a cause, sooner or later, the organization becomes more important than the reason you created it. Every single time. So you got to be careful in how you organize something. Is it like spontaneous order of the Levolution, or is the Mises Caucus got, like a chair and a shiny badge and a 501 pack of C something, or what are we looking at?
We are a pack now. We created a pack about 6 months ago, and there's nothing like what we're doing in the party. And we actually have Ron Paul's endorsement. Tom Woods has been very, very supportive.
I don't care about that. I want to know how it's organized. How do you have the pack organized? Who's in charge of what?
I am the chair, and then we have an executive committee, and we hold meetings, we do proposals, and right now we're coming up on almost 200 donors to the tune of $2,600 a month coming up. And what we do with that money is we're a hybrid pack, so there's two bank accounts. All the recurring donations that we're getting are going into the traditional pack. So what that is used for is to give financial assistance to exclusively local level libertarian candidates around the country. So that's what we're doing there. And then on the other side, the super PAC, we're raising money to then pay activists to get involved in issue coalitions. So, for example, we got involved with the effort to decriminalize shrooms in Denver, Colorado. And I think we helped put that over the top. It was a very slim victory, and we got activists out there. We got the LP of Colorado to endorse it. We got people knocking doors, all this stuff. And that has created some really cool ripple effects to where we got into the budding psychedelic decriminalization movement at the ground level. And now we're going to be a part of that moving forward. So that was the first thing we did on the issue side. Now we have a contract with Jose Nino, who actually writes for the Mises Institute and a few other places, to introduce, to organize and manage an effort to introduce gun rights protection legislation in 5 towns in Texas, and kind of utilizing the narrative that's going on down there of, well, the Democrats are going to take over the state, our gun rights are under threat. So, the two issues that we're leading off are guns and psychedelics, and then we already spent about $6,000
guns and weed, guns and weed, guns and weed,
guns and shrooms.
Well, the thing is that drugs and guns and whatever, and how they don't overlap. Yeah, they do. They're a freedom thing. But in the 90s, the National Libertarian Party in Arizona here, we have SAFE. Second Amendment is for everyone. Are you a safe gun owner? Are you an unsafe legislator? I mean, that kind of thing. So you go to safegunowners.com, or you'll see where it is. But our whole thing is that we understood these freedom issues were important, and be able to understand libertarianism and our values. And we would push it, but the National Libertarian Party, they would make fun of us, and you're not allowed. We got to change. You guys are bad. You're bad because you're not. You need to sneak into nonpartisan office. Make them think you're a Republican or something, and then you'll be there and you'll vote Libertarian. That kind of crap. And we're going, nope. If you don't have the people understanding freedom and them experiencing it, why you need it, even if you got elected, it wouldn't mean anything because it wouldn't last. I mean, you have to have general public opinion. Well, this started, I remember Colorado with the marijuana thing. It was Breckenridge with a friend named Joby Weeks there in the summer getting signatures for Breckenridge to decriminalize marijuana. Then boom, it went statewide. Then boom, we got mushrooms. And I'm going, woohoo! This is based on what? Based on I owe myself a bite me. Then you have guns. Well, now they got a movie, Guns and Weed. This is the National Libertarian Party. For some reason, And I don't, is it intentional? They don't get it, or are they controlled in some way that they, them, those, you can buy the party for $10,000 placed at the right time in the right hands of somebody, going, yeah, we kind of need you to do this and not talk about that. And we're going to get whatever the hell it is that they want. And what they want is it not the spark. And all of a sudden, like I use Jesse Ventura as an example, all of a sudden, here's an independent guy. He's governor of Minnesota. And they went, what the hell happened? So the CIA bring him down in the basement after he became governor, had a little meeting with him. He came here in Arizona in the Senate Republican majority caucus room at Arizona State Legislature here and told this story, and we got the videotape of it. And he said they have a Central Intelligence guy at a deputy level in every state house, sure as heck in mine, and they brought me down and they wanted to know one thing. How the hell did you win? But what the hell? Berlin Wall fell, we didn't know about. What the heck is going on? That's what I'm afraid that they're afraid of. They're afraid of the Mises Caucus, all of a sudden spontaneous order of the next levolution of Jacob Hornberger, and hell no, they got to have guys inside and the gaslighting of, are you sure you want to do that? I don't know. That sounds kind of crazy, So I can feel it. So I'm just like, head down, plow, I don't care. I don't want to play all this internal game of I don't care. But Jacob Hornberger, I already know what he's going to say. The same thing Ron Paul said. They're going, well, you're a libertarian, yeah, and you're really fascist. So, let's get over it. So,
and you know what the next move is going to be. I don't know if you've seen the stories, but the next move is going to be, they're going to try to shove Lincoln Chafee down our throats.
Who?
Lincoln Chafee. He was independent governor in Rhode Island, and he's been Republican, Democrat, He's been all over the spectrum. So
what do you mean you're going to shove it in our face? What do I care about? Why do you even mention that name? What does that mean?
Well, it's looking like he's probably going to run for president. He's probably going to be the new Bill Weld. And it looks like...
Oh, as a libertarian?
Yeah, and it looks like members of leadership are even out there to this day still trying to pine for Bill Weld to come back. And
because they showed him gazillions of dollars. They waved that carrot in front of him and say, looky see. Oh, yeah, right. Man, it's some money. It's kind of... Ooh.
Where things get really interesting is you had mentioned that we were running a chair candidate before. That guy's name is Joshua Smith, good friend of mine. Now he didn't win the chair race, but he did get on as a LNC at-large member, and we actually helped get a few people elected to the LNC. And Josh is now using his networks, using our networks, using our audience, the connections that we've made with Tom Woods and all these other people. Josh is far and away the biggest recruiter in the party right now, more than the rest of leadership combined and double. And that's reflecting on us. We're bringing people to the party in droves right now. And it's with our message of trying to reignite the
You're bringing delegates to the convention?
Yeah, we're actually, that's going to be on our next meeting is buying Airbnbs for people who need financial assistance. We already have spreadsheets, people who are interested, people that we're trying to help, targeted emails around, convention dates, and you have to register with your state party by this date. And so, yeah, we're doing it. I mean, we're going to, when you're making $2,600 a month, that might not be great in the grand scheme of things politically, but in the LP scheme of things, there's nobody else who's doing anything like this.
No, $2,600 a month, I could change the world. I was you back in the day. It was always $200 and $2,000. That's what it always was. If I had $200, man, I could, the timing up. If I had $2,000, it was the timing up. If you have a couple of $1,000s that you can count on that you can put towards something, yeah, you can get some stuff done. You guys are going in the right direction. Plus, you have a lot more support from people that is worth way more than whatever monetary value. Because,
right.
That's what a lot of people didn't understand with the Levolution. There's hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff. The Rs&Ds, they'll spend tens of millions, $100 million just to make it look like they have, $10 million worth of grassroots effort.
You can't buy heart.
Amen.
You can't buy passion, and you can't buy belief.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get down to some, kind of inside party politic and kind of stuff. My experience has been that either you are supported by they, them, those on the LNC or the top executive of somebody they know they just need to talk to, whatever. Because when you're talking about the third largest party in the United States of America, that could be a kingmaker, that even 1 or 2% can determine who becomes presidente. Look at what happened with, the popular vote between Hillary and Trump. I mean, it wasn't that much. In fact, Hillary got more. It was the Electoral College that Trump focused on. But if they could change one state with just a few percent, oh man, that makes you kingmaker. And I guarantee it is not lost on these guys. They're definitely doing, paying attention to the Libertarian Party process. So you have a lot of candidates. I've had a lot of them on the show, and there's going to be more and whatever. Jacob Hornberger is a different animal, because he has such a long pedigree. He didn't just come to this. This is a 30-year thing that I know of, and I've known him. He's spoken at a couple of our freedom summits. I've been to, different functions he's spoken at. I had him on the show a lot, read his stuff. I mean, the Future of Freedom Foundation and their Freedom Daily was, on my coffee tables for years. This is not going to be what I think the Libertarian Party regulars think it's going to be. Is the campaign going to start after the nomination, or does it start now?
It needs to start now, and that's what I'm working to get to happen. Now, I should probably say, just for the record, that we're going to interview multiple candidates, and we're not endorsing anybody at this moment. But I will say that I, as an individual, am very supportive of Jacob. Pretty much everybody else on the board feels the same way. He has a very strong base of support from our audience. So, we will probably end up supporting him, but just as a formality.
Well, I mean, he'd have to say something really stupid, or somebody else be really better than Jacob. I don't know how that's going to happen.
But it needs to start now. And I mean, I just spent today reaching out I'm trying to find articles and find the Ron Paul delegates, remember the Maine and the Minnesota delegation and the Nevada delegation. And I'm trying to find these people, and I'm trying to reach out to the old Ron Paul campaign staff.
Well, I have their numbers in case you want them.
Yeah, I need that, because this is the
after
thing.
The show, you and I we'll stop. Like, you got to go like 15 after, so we'll stop like 5 minutes before, and I'll hook you up with whatever I can. But the thing is that I'm looking for, and this is where Scott Horton and I kind of had a little bit of a difference of opinion. I am of the opinion that Jacob is an early threat to these guys. They, them, those. Who are they, Ernie? Who are they? I'll tell you who they are. You want to know who they are? I'll tell you who they are. There are those that just want to be left alone, and there are those that just won't leave them alone, okay? Well, how do I know who the bad guys are? They won't leave me alone. So these guys, they, them, those, they are threatened by you and the popular, and me, and Scott and everybody else that's part of this revolution. Hell, even Ron Paul himself, okay, and the Mises Caucus and so on, because they can see that the LNC and the Libertarian Party that is not in convention do not control the convention. The people control the convention. I got a whole bunch of examples of that. So when you go into the convention in Austin, Texas this coming year, it's going to be very interesting for me to see all the machinations that has already happened way back here. And one of those is going to be in the first quarter in 2020, before the end of March, by April Fool's. I did this kind of gentleman's kind of, he didn't take the bet, but, just for people to check. You put in your calendar April 1st, all right? There is going to be an attempt to discredit Jacob Hornberger on a national level, come after, oh my God, you can't believe this guy said this about that on Fox, CNN, MSA, something in big article or something. Because they cannot have him do what we know he's going to do, which is kick the living crap out of them, even if he's not in the debate. So I know this is coming. There is going to be a smear effort of Jacob Hornberger before April. They have to. Because if they don't, It's going to build and do the same thing that the Ron Paul evolution did and build up, and it's going to be out of their control. They think they got control with Google and Facebook and all this other crap that they're doing, but what the hell you think we've been working on IPFS for? There is going to be a mechanism and a way to share information between the revolutionaries, and the general public will go that way too, because they can't find the truth anymore. This is amazing to me that people don't see this coming, because they're always fighting the last war. Technologically, where are you guys going to be on this?
On technological, what do you mean?
The campaign. What kind of cool software goodies platform of decentralized? Are you guys just going to go, oh, we're going to have a Facebook page? Is that it? I mean, what?
The campaign? I mean, I'm not privy to everything that's going on with the campaign. I'm
no,
trying to help
you. You think the revolution had anything to do with the campaign?
Gotcha. So no. We plan on having a CRM. We're going to walk into convention with mass text
CRM.
software.
What's a CRM?
Customer relations management. So, I mean, you can use it for businesses, but there's also versions of this that are used for politics as well. And it's basically a one-stop shop for recruiting people, keeping in contact for people, managing all of the data, managing all of the interactions and emails and all that stuff. It's expensive, but we're building towards it. And it would even just that would give us a huge advantage over the competition. And as far as, we need to get Jacob to win first and foremost, because the party isn't going to give it to him. He still has to go around, and he's got to schmooze, and he's got to go to state conventions, and he's got to talk to delegates, and he's got to shake hands. He's got to do all this stuff and win a convention, because there's other candidates. And I believe that Hornberger is the best one. But, there's people out there who, Kim Ruff, she's a solid candidate, and she's a longstanding party activist. And there's people who really value that, and there's nothing wrong with that. My point is, it's not going to be given to him. So we're trying to already kind of formulate our plan to make sure that he gets it, getting those Airbnbs, getting people out, getting mass text software so that right from the floor of the convention, boom, the vote's happening in 5 minutes out to all of our delegates. Get your ass in the hall. The socialists are putting this stupid resolution up. We have to vote against that, or, whatever, and out organize the competition. Because like I said, and I really mean it, there's nothing going on in the party like what we're doing at all. And
you're right, but I saw it with libertarians. All right, this is what happened. That's a long story. Bottom line, I recommended some guys here out of Arizona for the Ron Paul campaign, because I didn't want to have anything to do. Nope, hell no, because I know I got to advocate for voting. You want me to go Republican? You want that? Not going to happen. I got my own plan. I know what I'm doing. Peace out. So that became the Levolution. Well, the same thing with Jacob Hornberger. There's, we got a list, and we want you on the list and kind of be in the list and kind of go, let me tell you what I know. One, you're going to want me off the list within a few weeks. Two, there's going to be limitations, and I got to do an FEC requirement of hell no, I don't fill out paperwork. Ain't happening. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to do some butt whipping. What shall I do? I don't know, but it's going to be something creative. So we got some ideas, and I'll share a little bit of this with you. But the main thing is to help you. I do not want to be in a position to where the organization or the effort starts to seep in what is needed by the organization rather than why we're doing it, which is not even Jacob Hornberger. As the Levolution was not about Ron Paul, and he understood that. It was about the philosophy and keeping him up on that stage. People are on my butt about, precinct committee, walking this and doing kind of in the way the structure of and the nomination and delegates of the, don't care. I freaking don't care. That wasn't my thing. My thing was, how long could I keep Ron Paul up on that podium? That was it. Let him do it. That's the same thing I have with Jacob. How long and how wide and how much can I get him attention that the words coming out of his mouth is heard by as many people as possible? That's all I care about. What your job is, you go give him the nomination, you do delegate thing, right? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Necessary, but I'm going to try and make your job easier. But that is not my job, because I don't like playing internal politics. I don't care, because I'm going to work on how many ears get to hear his thing. That's it. Can I do that? Am I allowed?
That will be the hard pivot after. We have to get him the nomination first, but yeah, obviously that will be the hard pivot.
No, that's your hard pivot. I'm doing it now.
Well, yeah, my hard pivot, yeah.
I'm doing it now. That's your thing, man. That's not my job, you know.
But is to answer your concern there, I will say this, and I don't know if you'll find this convincing, but as far as keeping the interests of the goal over the interests of the organization as time goes on, I've been doing this for over 2 years now, and I'm a very limited means. I don't make any money off of this. It comes to a great expense of my time, and the reason I do this is because Ron affected me on a very personal level as well as an intellectual level. And I thought that was how it was for everybody. And it wasn't until years after that I feel like it was more intellectual for most people than personal. And what I mean by personal is like I was at a very, very dark point in my life at that time. I mean, I was like 18 years old. I was having serious depression, serious problems at home, and it just felt like I couldn't get away from it. And Ron Paul served as a personal role model for me and the kind of person that I want to be like. So to be in a position now where, you know, I was at Ron Paul's house like last weekend or the weekend before that. We're endorsed by Ron Paul. This is like the honors of my life. You know what I mean? So like,
Dr. Paul cured your apathy.
Well, he cured my apathy, but he cured my depression too. That, you know, like he made me see what kind of person I want to be like.
You know, let's delve into that a little bit. I want to talk about that a little bit more. The example that you got from Dr. Paul redirected your efforts and what kind of an adult that you wanted to be. And tell me what you think it was.
Oh, it was his bravery. It was his courage, and his consistency. He didn't care what anybody thought about him. He only cared about doing what was right and telling the truth. And I didn't really have a direction at that point, you know, and I didn't know where I wanted to go. I just thought everything was dark, you know, and seeing the light of the truth and somebody who was that brave that it didn't matter the cost to themselves.
You know, I've talked to people about this. I'd like you to, comment on this. How far back did you go in his writing? Did you watch his, speeches from before, read his back stuff, kind of looking for inconsistencies and didn't find it? You know, what was it that you did the research on once you got exposed to him?
Oh, everything. I mean, I didn't post on Daily Paul, but I was a daily Paul reader. I watched everything that I could find on YouTube. I learned everything I could about him. I mean, I have a book over here that probably I think nobody else probably has ever seen called the Ron Paul Money Book from like 1992. I got everything. And
well, are you guys going to, we had the Daily Paul. I know Michael Nystrom and for the 12 campaign, they burned him out. I mean, it was, he did it like he did it for the right reasons, and it just became a thing. And so he's, I really had a lot of respect for him and what he sacrificed personally. And it sounds like you're kind of going down the same path. Is there going to be, a Daily Jacob or something? I mean, Daily Hornblower or some crap like that?
There should be. There should be. I hadn't thought of that. That's a good idea, though.
Yeah, they'll probably wind up being. It's kind of Freedom's Phoenix now. Everything he writes, we put up there. But it is. I'm kind of, interested in what you think your future is going to be. Are you have a girlfriend? Are you married? Do you have a profession? Is this becoming? I mean, what role is this playing in your life?
This is what I want to pursue at this point, because like I said, it has to. You can't cut the head off like what was done with Ron Paul. We have to initiate that feedback loop and keep it going. So I think it's going to take me a few years, but frankly, this is what I eventually want to make my gig. I do have a girlfriend. I've been with Emily for 3 years now, over 3 years.
Is she in?
Yes and no. I mean, she is, but she's not involved. You know what I mean? Like, and she wasn't political when we started dating. It's not like it was anything like that. But I actually really like it that she's not involved.
Yeah.
Because
give you a break, man. Give you a break.
Well, one, I need a break, and two, like you said, even at this low level, there's a lot of snakes, there's a lot of animals. And if anybody screwed with her to get to me, I would lose my mind. So I like that. I like that she's not involved.
Yeah, I'm. the fact that you even said that's where they think your weak link is. And so she's got to, be in and understand that, this is, politics is a dirty thing. And we've been pretty insulated from it because we never went after individuals. I would not, no matter, I've run for office a gazillion times and, Congress 3 times, U.S. Senate against McCain, Secretary of State twice, a couple of times for state legislature, county recorder, on and on and on and on and on. And it was always for a reason, but I never went after individuals by name or anything. It was always a philosophy. And the reason is because when you go after politicos by name, they defend their boys and girls.
Yeah.
They're going to come out, and I don't care. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care.
For this chair race last year, and you got to understand, this is, and I know you know this, but for your audience, this is a completely volunteer position. The party has no money. The party has no power. It's kind of a rinky-dink. It could, but my point is, it's kind of a rinky-dink position, right? And even despite that, the stuff that happened to my buddy Josh, and he's running for chair again, but the stuff that they did to him, there was people harassing his baby's mother, harassing his mother, going after his family, fabricating rape charges. He's a deadbeat dad. It was absolutely disgusting. And because we were the new guys on the block and we were a lightning rod, nobody really seemed to care. And so that's kind of giving me an idea.
Well, I think nobody cared. It's what thing that got me wasn't it the socialist guy did something and he filed or threatened suit or something, wasn't that him?
He threatened to do it. I forget what the hell that was.
Whatever it was, that was when that was not good. That was not. Don't do that.
That was the culmination of a.
I know,
6
but that
months.
was not a good. That's what they try and get you to do is something like that. That's the only thing that people remember or heard. That's the only thing I remembered. So I'm just going. Yeah, see, they goad you into this stuff, and I'm just like, I don't see Jacob Hornberger being goaded. He's not that type.
He's not going to be the lightning rod that we were. Look.
Oh
He's
no,
so
he'll be a lightning rod.
Well, I'm talking about inside the party. You know what I mean? Like he's pretty affable. He's pretty.
Doesn't
he's
matter.
got a good demeanor.
Doesn't matter.
And
if you got Nick Sarwark, national chair, going after Tom Woods for mentioning the name Rothbard,
and
what
Ron
the hell
Paul.
did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, and the comment that started that all off from Nick was that the Mises Institute is the preferred think tank of Nazis. That's what that was. But but the good news is and I think this is a byproduct of our effect on the party is, so I forget if it was last weekend or the weekend before now. It's all blending together. But the weekend before, I was at the Ron Paul symposium, and that's why I was at Ron Paul's house. And Nick actually showed up to the symposium, took a picture with Ron, and invited him to the convention, and then had a conversation with Jeff Deist. Now, of course, he used it as a photo op for a donor drive. But my point is we've got influential to the point, and because I expect him to spin these things however he can. My point, though, is that we've become important enough and we've become influential enough to where he sees the wins and sees
and he
that
doesn't have Bill Weld to promise him billions.
Right.
So I know where this goes. I know, Nick. All right, now this is one thing. You bring this up. This is another issue that we have. I think Friday, Maj Touré is coming on. Now this is Black Guns Matter. He's spoken at 2 of our Freedom Summits. I like him. He's got it going on in Philadelphia, I think, right? So
Yep.
he's Black Guns Matter, and he's a black man teaching people about guns in Philadelphia, and he's rock and roll and whatnot. He was invited or scheduled to speak at the Libertarian National Convention in Austin this next year, and then uninvited, and that's all I know about it. What the hell was going on?
So we actually recruited him to run. I was with him every step of the way for this campaign. I did a lot of work for that campaign.
For what?
City council at large in Philly.
Okay.
That's what he ran for. And, it was his first.
How did he do?
Well, compared to what, I guess is the question.
Well, I don't know.
There hasn't really been any libertarians running for city council in Philly. He got 5,600 votes. So it was a little underwhelming. I think it was a half of a percent. But again, that's if you look at it politically. If you look at
Did he get attention?
Yes, he did.
See, I don't give a crap what the total. I don't trust the computers anyway.
He was froze out. He was froze out of the local media, but he got all kinds of national media. He was on Fox Business several times, and nobody cared about any of the stuff. They just cared that he offended some donor. That's. I mean, there's a little more of a story there, but he offended a donor. He insulted a donor, and the insult was public. But what the donor did to disrespect him initially was not public. So the donor's narrative is what was adopted, the narrative that was adopted. You know what I mean? So nobody really cared, and yeah, that was ultimately used to push him out of the party.
Oh, push him out of the party? I thought it was just a speaking slot or something.
Well, he had made it known that if you take my keynote, I'm leaving the party. And that was up front. Everyone knew it, and that's what they did anyway.
Okay, well, go ahead. Man, let's not leave the audience hanging, man. What the hell happened? I don't know. I mean, I can ask him, but I mean, I'd rather you get it now. Everybody's got. I got 2.
I'm going to try to. I want to try to do the nutshell version here. So Please. He had a phone call with a donor to the party, and
why was he on the phone with him?
To get information as far as running, like advice, and to ask about, donating to the campaign. And but apparently the donor answered the phone like this: "Just so you know, I'm not going to give you any money. I don't believe you can win." So naturally, they got defensive. Maj made a Facebook post detailing the situation, but didn't name any names, right? Well, then the donor comes on the post, outs himself, tries to call out Maj. Maj calls him a cock blower. And I was at dinner with him when this broke out, and I tried to get him to calm down and think about it. But, he was pissed off and he reacted. And I think we all have done that.
So cock blower is, that was it.
Yeah. Now he's homophobic.
Okay. Whatever. Is the guy gay? Is the guy gay?
No. But, well, at least not that I know of.
Okay. Well, whatever. So he pissed him off and he reacted, and the guy had weight with the National Party to have him taken off. Why? Is he big giant donor or something? What?
Yeah, he's a donor to the party.
Well, I mean nothing. I mean big giant. I bet is it $1,000? He's a lifetime member. Is that it? What?
He's a big donor to the party. He's a top 10. Yeah, top 10 or top 5 donor to the party.
Oh, okay.
And then he's even donated to a really good cause and to the state party out here in Pennsylvania. So. Even the state leadership here took his back over Maj. And basically the whole argument that I was trying to make is look, I'm not asking you to endorse everything he says. I'm not asking you to like the guy because they didn't like him and whatever. I'm not asking you to like the guy. I'm asking you, though, to tell me why your personal feelings that you don't like him are more important than the fact that he's getting on Fox Business, and more important than the fact that he's getting in, a main stage slot at CPAC, and more important than getting invited to huge two-way rallies, and more important than getting endorsed by the GOA and all the shit that never happens to our local level candidates. I
don't want to excuse people just because for they get the attention or because they're a big donor. I'm looking at this ouch quit it. That's just ouch quit it, and I'm just ouch quit it. And it, for a donor to throw his weight around like that as a donor, that's not good either. I don't feel warm and fuzzy about that.
But in the end, Daniel Hayes, who is the person that invited Maj to be the keynote, he's the chair of the convention committee. In the end, he actually unilaterally removed Maj from being the speaker because he knew that the support on the committee had left. So
he just did it without the committee because the committee was kind of for leaving Maj on.
Right. And there was a vote after the fact where they ratified what Daniel did, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that sucks.
And Daniel is the same guy
I've met Maj, had him on quite a bit, know him a little bit. He's from Philly. You don't go around, pissing people off. They're going to you dissing me kind of. Well, I don't see him as an embarrassment. I don't see him as violent. I don't see him as anything but, love of his community, and he wants to share he's an asset. So that's too bad.
He's absolutely an asset, and he's even. What people don't know is he does these free workshops around the country in inner cities for Black Guns Matter for people to come and talk about, gun rights, gun safety, gun history, and conflict resolution. And
he has replica guns, he shows them how they actually get the touchy-feely. He goes through the process, the philosophy, the law, everything. It's a powerful message.
Right. And he's opened these workshops to Libertarian Party candidates in the areas that he's at to come and talk and spread their message. And
not anymore.
Right. And that's what I mean. It's just absurd. And to me, it sends a really bad message because you have to conform to our social norms or something like that, or you can't be a leader in this party, or it doesn't matter what positives you bring if you upset people or offend people. It just seems like PC bullshit to me. And we're supposed to be shattering the status quo, not like endorsing it, you know?
Well, I don't want to be. I just don't like, I just don't like part. I mean, there's so many reasons why I don't like this stuff because I've been through this so many times, and I just
Right.
it's ouch, quit it stuff. I just freaking don't care. And but it's important to them, and I'm whatever. That's why Bumper. I mean, I'm sorry, Jacob. Yeah, Scott Horton's on my butt. Quit calling him Bumper. Do you guys call him? But him as Bumper or?
I'm not good enough friends with him yet to call him Bumper.
Well, I didn't, hell, I thought that was his name for a long time, but the, Jacob, it's Jacob Hornberger. I give him some respect, for Jacob Hornberger, but, he's been around a long time and he had a big influence on me, in the early 90s. And, he's one of those calm, cool, collected, well-informed, well-read, well-educated. He's an attorney by trade. And Future Freedom Foundation, that. And I remember him going around and having sponsors and raising money back in the day in the early 90s, and people were perfectly willing to give him the money. And our first Freedom Summit that we had in 2001, he was the keynote speaker. And we had him again talking about immigration in like 05, 06, before the revolution started. And when immigration was just getting to be a big thing, and he's like, open border, open border, open border. Now, open border position, this is one of the things that, Scott Horton and I were going on about. He's like, he shouldn't just come out and right out flat say in the beginning, open border. He needs to kind of soften the message or something. And I'm going, I don't want to, say it, just say it. And then usually when you say it up front, they want you to defend it. If you try and, hem hawing around in the beginning, they don't even care what you say, But on the issue of open border, wasn't he just on Tom Wood's show or something and brought that up and people had something to say about something? What do you know about that?
Well, there's two
Well, tell me
things
what happened, because I don't even know. I just heard rumors or something.
I don't know that there's anything that happened. It's just anytime a candidate takes one side or the other on abortion and borders, it's always something, right? It's always a thing because those are, as far as the intra LP thing, those are wedge issues. They're always the issues that divide libertarians.
Which is why Ron Paul not being, you're not a woman till you had an abortion at 14 or something. Ron Paul is like considered pro-life when he ran for president in '88 as a libertarian. So this has always been a thing, right, where generally his is like, hey man, bring it down. It's sure as hell not a federal issue. So when these guys make these arguments on these kinds of things, and Jacob is Catholic, okay, so I'm not sure what his abortion issue is, or have him fully articulated. I mean, I'm sure it's not everybody's got to have an abortion and you're not a woman or something. But the thing is I like to hear the argument. That's why a lot of people in talk radio, they don't like talking about, like immigration or abortion or some of these controversial vaccines or, war or some of these controversial issues because, but I do. Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. And I can make the argument for both sides, pro and anti. The problem is that do you use libertarian principle in your argument? This is what I know Jacob is going to do. Doesn't matter what his position is. He's going to use a freedom, individualist, down to the individual, proper role of government argument to make whatever point he is. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, and that's what we need right now. Because we've had enough of the imposters. We've had enough of the moderators and the watering down. We need the revolution back. And we need it to be something that keeps going.
Do you, excuse me, do you think, see, that was one thing. I know that, I've been approached by, well, even after when Ron Paul pulled out in 08, We go to the Denver Libertarian Convention. It was Bob Barr, and they just thought, oh, yeah, it's going to be the Bob Barr Revolution, right, Ernie? I'm like, God, you guys so freaking don't get it, man. Now, that it's not even possible. I could, even if it doesn't, you think this is collectivized in some way. That's the point. Here in Arizona, the politicians, it's always Ernie and his people. And I'm like, God, man, you freaking don't get it. There is no Ernie's people. That's the point. If you do me, it doesn't make any difference. It's just, they're so dumb. So the thing is that I'm going, all right, then it's 12. Well, we got some Ron Paul evolution again. All right, cool. Wasn't the same as '08, but I did whatever I could to help people. I, kind of had its own thing. All right. Then it's Rand Paul. Here comes Rand Paul. Oh, Ernie's got back. I go, no. That's not, well, you guys, if it takes off, it takes off. Use it. Don't use it. It's not copyrighted. I don't give a crap. I retain, just enough ownership to make sure nobody has ownership of the logo. I don't give a crap. Do whatever you want. But it doesn't take off because it's not what the people want. So I'm going, what am I going to do for Jacob if it turns into a Lovolution? Like what you're talking about, we need to have another Lovolution. Do you think it's going to be the logo? It's going to be the same thing? It's going to be a spontaneous order of the support and the people come out, the woodwork for the same? Or do you even want it the same? What do you think is going to happen?
More than the branding, I'm concerned about the feeling in the community. That's the main thing. Yep. That's what needs to be replicated more than the branding or anything. I mean, it's a different time. He is going to have to, incorporate the internet, and he is going to have to do, live streams and ask me anythings and all this kind of stuff. But the main thing is the feeling and the unity, because that was the thing that pissed me off so bad after a few years after Ron Paul, is because it was kind of cool at first, right? Like all this stuff sprouted out, the Free Thought Project sprouted up. Ben Swan sprouted up. That's when Adam Kokesh became a personality, and he was doing the Man on the Street videos, and all these different things started popping up. And that's when we all started having debates about minarchism versus anarchism and what type of hyphenated anarchism are you. And it was really cool because it was like actual education and intellectual inquiry. Somewhere along the way, though, I feel like we lost faith. We lost faith in what we actually believe, because the energy that was coalesced around Ron Paul just went in a bunch of different directions and didn't have any results after that. And we all started stagnating. And then it seemed like those debates started turning into fights, and those hyphens started becoming lines, and we've gotten really divided. And I fundamentally think that the main thing there is faith. I think we've lost faith in what we believe. And
well, I tell you what happened, and from my opinion, and I anticipate it was, again, whenever you create an organization, sooner or later it becomes more important than the reason you created it. And, it was Campaign for Liberty. When they did Campaign for Liberty, and, behind the scenes, there was discussions, and Michael Nystrom and Trevor Lyman and I went to Washington and met with some of the guys that, whatever. And this was right before he pulled in '08, before the Texas convention. And it was like April, I think, or something. And we went to Washington. I remember, Peter Schiff and his brother were there, and we, went through the tour of the Capitol. And Peter Schiff's brother, I think it's Lester, he was awesome. And it was like, forget the tour guide, man. He was telling us everything, and it was cool. During that meeting, what happened was this. It was very clear to me that Rand and the guys, they wanted to do what you're talking about and have this continue after. Well, they got a big database. They raised billions of dollars outside of them. They still raised a lot of money, but they took the money at the end of the campaign. That's why they stopped it, is to take and roll that money over. There's some laws that allow them to do this into an organization. Well, they created Campaign for Liberty, and they took, 6 million, 8 million, whatever it was, and kind of seeded that with that. And they wanted, this too could be yours. And, I'm going, nah, I'm not interested. And I already know where this goes. You're going to take all these, for a year and a half or more, these people have been busting their ass doing exactly what they wanted, the way they wanted, without any direction and whatever, and the results were whatever they wanted. And I go, you're wanting them to, now they're going to pay $35 or whatever it was into this organization, and then you're going to tell them what to do. Let me think for a second. That ain't going to work, okay? And then Colorado had some state, I think it was a U.S. Senate candidate, and Campaign for Liberty spent like $350,000 on helping them do whatever the heck it was. And he was some warmongering piece of crap, and it was a deal with the Republicans, and we're done, okay? So they were thinking that I, stoked the fires and opposition. I didn't do anything other than I put some of the stories on Freedom's Phoenix. I didn't even read them. I already knew this was going to happen. So then they're like, "Oh, Ernie, you did. Hey, man, don't shoot a messenger. It's because you created an organization." So that's why I'm warning the Mises Caucus. You get to that position to where you're deciding which candidates get what money. You're already screwed. Okay. So how do you even determine that? Is it an issue? Is it an initiative? And then how do you, because I've seen this fight going on inside the Libertarian Party. It was always who got the money from the whatever. Blah. I give you this. Here's one thing that was the most successful fundraising the Libertarian Party ever did. Most supported, which is of course why they never did it again. Ron Krickenberger out of Georgia. I think it was Atlanta or something like that. He's passed away, years ago, but he was one of the guys that would raise money and they would, spend it on, ballot access or do this or do that and some whatever. They came up with this idea, and this is like early days of the, God forbid you had an email. I mean, this is back in the 90s. It wasn't broadband or anything. And what they did is they said, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put this full-page ad in the New York Times. It's going to cost $1 billion, trillion. I know it was 80,000. It was a lot of money. We're going to put this full-page ad in, and it's going to be, "We are against the drug war. It was an anti-drug war signed by, and this is why," and people said, and cuz, and whatever, and donate to that, and we do it. Boom! The money came in, do it at, boom! It's out there, and libertarians get all kinds of attention. Peace out, and we're done. Well, you'd think they want to do that again. Yeah, they want to do it again this way. Give us a general fund money, and then maybe we'll do this kind of thing.
It is kind of curious after a while where it's like they always make the worst available decision.
Because they want control. It's always about control. And the people that get in, control. And that was my optimism. I saw it in Orlando. So this is two conventions, 3 years or so.
2015, I guess, 2016.
So you had in Orlando, and I saw, and that's when we found out that my senior editor, Pal Gamble, had just passed away. And he was a hardcore, no-compromise libertarian along with me, all this time. And I was thinking, right when I found out that he died, was that he should be here. He'd finally get to see it happen, where you had over a third of the convention was anarchist, libertarian, if they understood what was going on. And I'm going, man, it was a lot different from when, it was, 10%. And you purists, you Rothbardians, as if it was a bad thing. Somebody called me a Rothbardian in the early days. I didn't even know what the hell they were talking about. I came into this movement from activism in the street and stuff. It wasn't from, how many policy papers I could read, and a lot of people have come more the way that I did originally through Ron Paul's campaigns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And like I said, it was part of a community. And that's what we've lost. We're not a community anymore. And that's what we need to get back.
Organizations don't make communities. I just want you to know that right up front.
Movements do.
Yeah, movements. And if you can serve the movement. See, this is what, they want to go to everybody and say, we need your $35 in your work, and we're going to tell you what to do to serve the organization so we can do the movement of whatever the hell. No, if you just go, give us resources and we'll serve the movement, if you become a service of the movement, and not particular candidate, whatever, the movement, it'll flood in. What the hell did you think of what Levolution was about? Each one, there were so many of us that had gazillions of dollars go through our fingers doing stuff of people that just wanted to help because we allowed them. We said, look, what form I got to fill out? Form? Now, you want to declare your independence? You think you need a form? Dummy? So this is why I'm wanting to help you guys, but not in the organization thing. I'm not like that. I want to just help, and a bunch of friends over there help. What can we do to help you do what? I know you're kind of favoring Jacob Hornberger now, but, you're not necessarily like full-on endorsement, or if you even could. So I'm just going, what is it you really want to do?
We will be endorsing a candidate. like, and most of the board is very supportive, and most of our audience is very supportive.
Yeah.
But in the interest of fairness, I can't say that we endorse him yet.
Yeah. Well, this is like Jacob always saying. I was asking him like last May. Sounds like you're running for president. Oh, it wouldn't be prudent at this juncture, and the FEC, and blah blah blah. Sounds more like you're running for president, you know. So, I'm all right. Sounds more like you're endorsing Jacob. So what can people do? I mean, what do you need? Because if you say just give me money and sign up for the whatever, I don't care. I mean, what's the money for? What do you really need?
So what we're doing right now is, I laid out earlier that we're using money for local level candidates around the country as well as issue coalitions around the country. However, election season just passed. Right now, it's all eyes on convention. So we're trying to get tables and volunteers and people out to the state convention so that they can become delegates, so that they can go to the national convention in Austin in May and support Jacob, support Joshua Smith, support new leadership. See the changes in the platform that they want to see to keep us a principled party.
Okay, Joshua Smith, you've already made the decision on that. You know, what if Jacob doesn't like Joshua? I mean, why Joshua? Why are you linking them? Why? What?
Well, we've already endorsed him for chair, and we're trying to run a slate of leadership candidates as well. And we have very supportive state chairs. We have people who are supportive that are on the LNC. You know, we're trying to influence the whole shebang.
So what do you think Nick Sarwark is thinking now? I mean, he's moved to New Hampshire. He's even talking about registering Republican to vote for Weld to do some weird crap.
Yeah, he did say that.
Now, what the hell is that? I mean, he didn't want to be chair anymore or what?
We don't know. I mean, it does right now. The signs point. If I had to guess, I would point that I would say that he doesn't want to. I think they're scrambling.
He's going to be Bill Weld's campaign chair.
I think that's not impossible. Yeah.
See, I knew he was doing something weird in New Hampshire.
It seems to me though that they are afraid of us. They know, because I think they're used to people coming in, them acting the way they act, disgusting people away, frustrating people, burning people out, and then they just kind of throw their hands up, and that has served them for a long time. They've never dealt with somebody like me where there's nothing you can do to me.
Okay.
I will get it. You know what I mean? Eventually, and I will not stop.
Okay, this is what Drew Phillips is. He's known for Bitcoin, not bombs, and so on. He's a good friend, and he made this comment about the Libertarian Party. He goes, "You know what the Libertarian Party convention is?" He goes, "It's like the high school dance. It's where everybody goes to find out where the real party is with the cool people. Okay, and that's what you guys can represent. You're the cool guys. You know, they're just going to the party to find you."
Yeah, I mean that. Like you had mentioned that bash, and that's what we called it, Take Human Action Bash. That's our tagline, Take Human Action. And so we had, Ron Paul sent us a video, and that's where he endorsed this. We had Tom Woods, we had crypto speaker, people who headed up crypto companies that were there. We had Bob Murphy, we had Scott Horton, we had, it was the cool kids party.
Yeah, I went and said, "Yo, what's up?" I fell asleep and went, kind of later in the afternoon, but it was a going concern.
Right. And the only reason that we wanted to have it at the convention. We tried to rent the largest room in the convention hotels, in the convention hotel. They blocked us. They wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us do it there. They didn't want to build these bridges. So, and then even after they blocked us and forced us to go down the street, I tried to say, all right, can you send a table over so that we can recruit members to your party? They didn't even do that. These people are threatened. They're definitely threatened.
I was there when this was going. I could feel it. I know, like they were not grinning, and
right.
So I was kind of this last in New Orleans. I was kind of neutral. I'm just all right. I just seeing where this is going, because I've been doing this a long time, and I can see what I was really looking for is not what everybody else looks for. I'm looking for what is the philosophy and the leanings of the delegates. How many delegates are there representing what, I believe? It's gotten, when it's like almost none, it's gotten well over a third. It's getting even more. It's like 40% or something.
It's got to be more than that now.
Yeah,
because we are the biggest recruiters in the party.
Yeah, no. I'm with you, brother. I just want the audience to know I've been watching this for decades, and I'm telling you, all the stuff that early on we've been pushing for and pimping and running and making fun of and whatever the heck we've been doing, set an example here in Arizona, because there's a bunch of stuff always comes out of Arizona. A lot of the stuff people don't even remember. A lot of people, there's been a lot of stuff that you don't even know it was us that you know about. But Levolution is probably one of the big ones. But the big thing is, that is the big one, but this continuation that you're talking about in the party to get the emotion, the feeling of that, it was because of the spontaneous order. Can you keep that? Can you serve it as opposed to trying to be the center of it? If you try and be the center of it, it's not going to work. If you serve it,
I agree.
It's going to be different.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it all depends on what we go on to achieve ultimately. I mean, if it just flames out,
how many minds you can
anywhere.
free? I don't give a crap.
Right.
It's just how many minds can you free? That's it. That's it. That's
Right.
it. That's it. That's it. That's it. It's
And the more we free,
attrition.
the more they'll come in, and the more it just and it keeps going. So
What do you think you're up against? Okay. Oh yeah.
It's funny you should ask, because I was going to say I'll make this last point and then I kind of have to wrap. But well, we already know that Gary Johnson and Ron Nielsen and Weld and all them, they flew people in, they packed the delegation, and even despite their efforts, and despite the fact that there's been a demographic shift, so we'll see how bad it is now. But my point is they did what they had to do to get that win. You know what I mean? And that probably took money, and it took hotel rooms, and it took stuff like that to get people out. But even despite that effort, a shift of 30 delegates would have changed the whole thing. I mean, Larry Sharp lost the VP, and he would have been vastly superior to Weld by like 15, I think. So despite all of that effort, and despite the fact that we didn't have the demographic influx that we have since had, that small of a shift could have changed it. So it matters. It matters. You have to get out there. I mean, it can't be a passive thing.
You remember when Alicia had Bill Weld up there and saying, well, these people just want to know that you're not going to stab them in the back. And he kind of goes,
and then she stabbed everybody in the back.
Yeah, he goes, I'm a national member of a national member of a national member. And I'm going, he didn't say it. Say it. Say it. That was me. And the reason that happened was in 96, Harry Brown wouldn't say that he wouldn't take federal matching funds, because we were big against that too. And he finally goes, okay, I won't take matching funds, and the crowd roared. Well, Nick Sarwark knew I wasn't going to stop, and he came up and saved him, and that's where Bill Weld came buddies with Nick. Here's the guy that saved me, and kind of, and here's my billionaire friends. So I've known the story and how this works from back in and it takes brave people at the right time to stand up, or sometimes to stand up, you just gotta sit down, whatever it takes. So I'm with you guys. I know you gotta go. I gotta go to the bathroom, but so I know you gotta go. We need to talk more in the future. Yes, I do remember you from the Nexus Earth Conference in Aspen, and I wish you all the luck. I want to make sure that we can help serve you, helping everybody else instead of them helping create your organization to whatever. Be of service, and you'll get all the resources you ever wanted. I guarantee it.
So if I could just plug one website, it's takehumanaction.com. It's our one-stop shop for you to see everything that we're doing, and you can pick how you want to get involved. Do you want to give money? Do you want to look at our guide? If you've never been involved in party politics before, our beginner's guide to the LP. If you want to join the email list, all of the stuff that we do is right there. And that's not even we have a podcast called Ask an Austrian, where we get user questions from the crowd, and we have economists from the Mises Institute answer them on a monthly basis on video. There's all kinds of stuff that we're doing. And I do think that Jacob Thornberger can be the continuation of the Ron Paul revolution, and that's what we need. So,
okay, I'm going to show my ignorance. I got it up for the audience to see right here. It has, Rothbard on the right, and then Mises, and then Ron Paul, and who's the guy on the left? I don't recognize him.
Hayek.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't look that way in the rap video. Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate your work, and we'll do what we can to help.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.